Hi everyone, welcome back to the Nature Talks podcast. Today we are here with our friend Kopal. How are you doing?
Very good, Varun.
So nice to have you here finally. We've been talking over the past few months and now you're finally here in our office and we can talk about the wildlife.
Likewise, happy to be here.
Do you want to give us a few lines about yourself? Then I'll ask more questions.
Sure. So I'm a naturalist. I also lead expeditions and I conduct tours, primarily species-specific tours. So we usually have a species in mind. It could be a flower, it could be a lizard, it could be a big mammal. And the idea is to just go all out. It could be fireflies, that's your forte. The idea is to just be out and look for what you want to see in the best habitat, in the best season. That's about it.
And so you're a wildlife specialist.
Yes.
Do you have a degree in wildlife?
This is something I hear so often, but I no longer feel bad about saying no, because I think I've spent so much time out in the field that I do know a lot more than I would have if I went into conventional degrees or classroom sessions. So no degrees as such, but I have been in this field with Taj Safaris for 9 years. Prior to that, another 3 years in Bombay. Prior to that, in Rajasthan. So I think I've been a naturalist all my life, minus a degree.
How many years do you think you spent in this field?
Spent in this field. So I would call myself a naturalist right from the age of 3, when I used to, again, look at species and try and catch them. And as every little child is curious, we'd like to see how many legs, how many heads, what all colors. So, it's very interesting. I think all of us are born naturalists. We all have this romantic relation with nature, which slowly keeps getting disconnected the more we learn, is what I feel. So I'd say all my life.
Okay. So, like nature is our classroom. Yeah.
Nature is our classroom, absolutely. If we've learned anything anywhere else, I don't think it's learning.
Yeah, I remember even when I was a kid, I would just dig up the garden and see the water flowing through the canals like that.
Exactly.
That was a fun thing for me. Playing in the soil, playing with water.
And thankfully we had those options back in the days.
Nowadays children can only play with cement, I guess.
Exactly.
Or your smart devices.
Or the smart devices, worse.
Smart devices are actually making people dumber.
That is the idea, no?
It happened to me also. I was looking at a letter a few days ago and I was trying to scroll up and I realized it's a piece of paper. So we're so used to scrolling on our screens all the time, and then I realized how dumb the smart devices have made us.
Exactly.
So you want to tell us, what was your most memorable experience in all these years for the viewers?
Most memorable. Okay, so amongst the many amazing experiences I've had, in particular being with nature alone, I think there is one experience which I may never be able to let go of. For obvious reasons, I'll come to that. So there's a very beautiful flower. It's called the Neelakuranji. It's known to bloom once in every 12 years. There are different subspecies of it. Some bloom in 4 years, some in 2. So this one is the longest. In fact, interestingly, in the Nilgiris, there was a tribe called the Pali tribe. So the blooming cycle of the flower would actually tell them it's been 12 years. And that's when they'd add that to their age. So in 2018, the flower was scheduled to bloom in the Nilgiris area down south. And all of us are aware 2018 is when the craziest floods had hit Munnar. Munnar being the junction, the center spot where the flower blooms. So I think my most beautiful memory was the fact that all of us wildlifers, whether it was someone from Himachal, my school friends from Himachal, or someone from the east, or all of us naturalists from central India, we all made it a point to go to Munnar, despite knowing that, we may not. In fact, my mother was watching this in the news, and the minute I had landed in Chennai, in the next 4 hours, the Chennai airport walls had come down.
Okay.
So it was a very, very crazy flood. And what's most memorable is that despite all the landslides and the floods, eventually on the 18th day, when we landed at a spot where the flower had just started blooming, I think that entire madness came to a halt by just looking at it. Wasn't as gregarious as we thought it would be, or as we had seen it, in photos 12 years back. But just that one little bud starting to grow, and us knowing out of theory that now the whole plateau is going to be this color. Yeah. I think that's a very beautiful memory I have of chasing a species.
Yeah, I think, the same way everyone has their own memorable experience, but now with your story, more people will want to try and go and find the same.
Definitely. I'm poor with math, but 2018 plus 12 years will be 2030.
Yeah.
So 2030 is a good time for everybody to probably look out for this flower.
Yeah, so get ready, book your tickets, everybody. Let's go check out this flower.
It's become like a dual-edged sword of late. You have to think twice before even encouraging people to go to landscapes. But I think as long as the intention is to purely experience wildlife, I think that being conscious would just come naturally. Not as opposed to ticking something on the bucket list. So if that's something, then please don't go. Please don't.
I mean, having experts and guides is important. That's how we do these nature walks, by taking small groups and informing them one-on-one. If it's a smaller group, less quantity means better quality. So if you have a big group, then the quality goes down and people don't learn much. But in small groups, they understand everything, the importance of conservation. And if they have a good experience, then they would want to protect those areas.
Absolutely.
And they would want more people to have that experience.
Correct.
We need to be careful of these places so that they don't get destroyed for other silly reasons.
No, absolutely. Well said. In fact, just adding to that, I think it's a brilliant idea to always have a guide. Whichever landscape you're traveling in, it's a great idea to have a guide. Not just because he or she would be able to help you spot what you want, but something as basic as you are in their landscape. The least you can do is give back to the community. And I think this is something that I have personally been encouraging people to do. Whether or not you know everything, you may be a better birder than that guide, or better at tracking snakes and frogs, but just have them along. Let them also learn what you know, and let them also understand how important it is to maintain what's there in their landscape. So I think this is something I would highly recommend. Have a guide wherever you go.
It's important. They have the experience and they know what's right and what's wrong.
Absolutely.
So after all these years, do you have a favorite animal?
Yes, I have many, many, many favorite animals. My most favorite would be the pangolin. I can just name one, right?
Okay. Top three.
Top three, okay. So it would be the pangolin, the honey badger, and the langurs, the northern plain langurs, who I have grown seeing up in Himachal all the way till central India. I think they're very close to us. The more I see them, it feels like I'm seeing one of our own kinds.
And you get to see a lot of pangolins?
Not at all. And I think that's one reason why it's my favorite animal. Yeah,
it's become rare. People have been smuggling and
absolutely
wildlife trade and all that.
It is in fact the world's most trafficked animal.
Yeah.
Good one. So, no, we don't see too much of it. The numbers are not as many. In fact, they are on the decline. One of the forests that I used to work in was known for pangolin smuggling. In about a month's time, about 30-35 of them would be caught. Maybe even more, 30-35 is an average that we know of. Yeah, very, very tough animal to spot. Lives under the ground.
Yeah. And so while you're out there in the forest, all these times you're doing the safaris, any tips that you can share with people about things that you should do or should not do, and also for survival tips, what should people know as a rule of thumb?
So when you're out there on a safari, so my primary job is to conduct safaris, and each time on a daily basis when I'm taking guests out, a lot of times you do have a rapport with them, and you can just, give them an entire orientation of, do not litter. There's nobody who's going to come and pick things up, even if it's something as basic as, an apple or the peel of a banana, which you in your head think is biodegradable, so let's just throw it. But no. Everything that you've got with you, please take it back with you. There is nothing that you're allowed to leave in the forest to start with. Second, and the most important thing for every safari goer, I think you should just leave everything to your guide and your driver. In this case, me. Because it's not just about a tiger sighting. It's also about everything that the forest is willing to show you. And considering we have been going to forests every single day, there are tracks and signs, and sometimes as basic as an intuition. And I would request anyone listening to this, go to the jungle with the intention of enjoying the jungle. See everything that comes your way. You cannot land yourself a tiger till you don't take a look at the deer. Only if you're seeing the deer and you're understanding, oh, he looks stressed, oh, the tail is up, now he's foot stomping, and now he's eventually calling. Till you do not see everything. There's a reason why the whole thing is, it's a web. We call it a web of animals. Everything is interlinked. So the idea is to actually enjoy everything that comes your way. The best way to see a forest.
Even the langurs warn the deer about the lion.
The langurs, yes, the langurs also give out a distress call, and more often. So it's very commonly believed that langurs and deer are best friends because they alert each other, but that's not true. Okay. So in fact, the spotted deer, this can only be understood by the spotted deer. There is no interspecies communication. Even us, for that matter, we sometimes feel like we can communicate with an animal. But as long as we are not that species, we cannot communicate with that animal. Yes, we can observe and say if the deer has done a or if the langur has done a we can say that the tiger is around because we've observed it. But he's doing it because he's stressed and they are doing it because they are stressed. It's for each other.
But they get alerted by the new sound around.
They do, yes. So for example, if I was to scream in the forest for a second, a deer or a langur will look.
Yeah.
But they may not understand what this is for. If I tell you, look, there's a tiger, they've heard something, but they can't decipher what it is. So it's the same with the langur and the deer.
Maybe it's the tone of the voice or the moment or...
Yes, yes.
And you were talking about the safaris which you do. So I was thinking that it's quite a motivational thing for other women who want to get into the wildlife field. So, can you tell us more stuff about what your safari lifestyle was like? Like you used to drive the Xenon, you said.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you're also talking about the different creatures we are getting to see. And now we know that you can even make some animal sounds.
Yes, only these many, the ones you heard.
Okay.
Others I try.
I was going to ask you if you can copy any more sounds.
I could, but I'll just fail miserably. Anyone who's heard a tiger would be like, send this cub away, please. She doesn't sound like a tiger. Yeah. But yeah, I can. I try mimicking a lot of animals.
I do the bird sounds, so we can help people learn about, listen to that sound. That's a kingfisher that side. That's a grey hornbill that side. So
you mimic birds as well.
I can mimic some, and I can.
Let's do this.
Identify some of them.
Which one do you want to try?
Brain fever bird.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm feeling conscious with the camera.
Okay, I could do this with you. Do you whistle?
Yeah, it'll have to be a whistle only. First, it climbs the steps. Yeah. And then, so it keeps going higher pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't whistle, so each time I had to mimic, I would literally sing it out to my guests.
Brain fever.
Brain fever. But it's so interesting. So the landscape I live in, so just for the viewers, we were trying to mimic a cuckoo over here, a common hawk cuckoo. There is, however, another cuckoo. It's called the Indian cuckoo. And that is also, a lot of people can...
It sounds like the clock.
It sounds like, that's the Eurasian cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. So this one sounds like, one more bottle. One more bottle. Very common sound in the Indian jungles, especially in the central Indian jungles.
I've heard that.
Now, interestingly, the brain fever and the one more bottle, they actually have their local counterparts in the sense. So this is a very funny story. Each time we used to come back from the jungles, we would enter the property gate, and the Chaukidar Bhaiya would write down how many kilometers you've done in the forest. Excitedly he would ask, what all did you see? So a lot of times we had an Indian cuckoo living in a tree very close to the entrance. So each time that cuckoo would call, I would try and narrate that to my guests, saying, one more bottle, did you hear that bird? Once, twice, I think about 10-15 times it happened. And then the guy could no longer contain himself. Bans Gopal, his name was. So one day Bansji stops me when I'm mimicking the bird, and he's saying, "ये आप लोग one more bottle, one more bottle, one more bottle क्यों बोलते रहते हैं?" I'm like, Bansji, hear it out. Doesn't it sound like one more bottle? And then he goes like, but it also sounds like Kosum Pakho. Kosum Pakho. Kosum is a beautiful tree, which is the first to have red leaves.
Kusum.
Kusum, exactly, which locally is called Kosum.
Yeah.
So he's telling me the bird is trying to say, Kosum pak gaya hai. What is this one more bottle you guys are doing? So interestingly, it's not just us naturalists or nature enthusiasts, but the locals and the villagers and the tribals who are living so close to these landscapes, it's just embedded in them.
Yeah, they've been there for generations.
Absolutely. Yeah. Innate knowledge.
Yeah. So, one important question was that how many stripes does a tiger have?
Wow. Okay. So the answer is very simple. I don't even have to think twice.
Just so that people can go and count next time.
Okay, guys. So, if you can count the number of stars in the sky, you can definitely count the number of stripes on a tiger. Okay, this was on the lighter side. I'm not sure. Maybe there is an authentic answer to this. We should look it up. But the way I see it, or from what I have observed, it's so difficult to even compare two tigers when it comes to the patterns.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. First of all, no two tigers will have the same number of stripes. So I don't think it has a conclusive answer.
Yeah. It's like a fingerprint.
Exactly. It's unique to each different tiger. In fact, it's so unique that you'd be able to tell one specimen apart from another when you see it. That's how unique their prints and stripes are. But maybe there is a way to figure it out. We should both dig in.
We should try it.
If there is, we can tell the viewers at a later point.
Yeah. And what about children who want to start in wildlife conservation? Any tips for them?
I think what you guys here at Delhi Nature Society are doing, I think it's incredible. So Varen and I were having a chat off before this started. And honestly, the best way to have anyone conserve anything is for them to fall in love with it. And before you fall in love with it, you need to be introduced to it the right way, which I think you guys are doing a very good job at. Just by taking little children out right now at such impressionable ages, if they fall in love with something now, I don't think they'll get over it. Like, today when we look back, we were talking how the red velvet mites are no longer being seen. There were so many different types of snails we used to see. Now, why do people like you and I love nature so much? Because we grew up doing random walks with our parents, with our grandparents, or just us together. I mean, even if it was just us outside our houses, there was so much beauty we were seeing.
Yeah.
As we grew, we realized it's not so much anymore, and we started saving it.
Yeah.
So the best way to conserve is to make children fall in love with nature, which is very easy. All we need to do is take them out on one single walk. They're yours.
Yeah, they'll have fun and they don't need to see their devices while they're out there.
Exactly.
Their brains are activated, their senses are activated, smelling new things, seeing new things. They're curious, they want to know
Exactly. I think a walk is the only activity which can instantly open up all your senses, right from touch, hearing, smell, taste, if you're eating a leaf, or a little berry, if you're walking barefoot.
Yeah.
One simple walk. In fact, there's a very interesting concept. It's called Shinrin-yoku. You must have heard of it.
Forest bathing.
You do that?
Yeah.
You do that here in Delhi?
Yeah, we have to.
Amazing.
There's no other choice. There's only way to survive.
Amazing. So normally it's done in forests where they believe there are a lot of ancient trees and you can get that
to absorb the energy of the forest.
Yes. But very happy to know you're trying that in Delhi as well. So what if there are not too many trees? At least the energy of the earth is still there.
And they say that you can't be in a forest and in a bad mood at the same time.
Yes.
So,
and that's true.
So if you're feeling any negative emotions like depression, anger, sadness, anxiety, anything, go into the forest. Suddenly, by the time you're out of the forest, you won't even realize that all your stress has disappeared because you were engaged with the natural environment over there and you're not thinking about what's going to happen in the future or what happened in the past. You're living in the now.
Absolutely. So, it is meditation in its own self.
And so we're almost reaching the end, but I still have a couple of questions. Like,
go for it.
How do people get rich with wildlife conservation?
They never get rich. And the idea is to not think of getting rich because then you'll constantly feel like this is what I had in mind versus this is what's happening. No, the idea is to understand that, okay, so the concept of richness to people like you and me would be to have a nice, comfortable, satisfactory sleep at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Most of us feel like we're only accountable to ourselves. And if this is the attitude you have, I think conservation it just comes very naturally to you. What is conservation? Just wanting to protect every little thing that you value.
Yeah.
So I think it's just very satisfying. But in terms of monetary translations, no. I don't think any conservationist, I don't think people like you and me for that matter, we don't make money. No.
Yeah, you can't be a millionaire saving trees and...
Exactly. You can be a millionaire cutting trees and using them as a commodity.
Yeah, destroying the world has a lot of money involved.
Yes.
Saving something which is already there doesn't require much. And it just requires your time and energy maybe.
Exactly. Which in turn, giving your time and energy means you're definitely not being able to earn from any other source as well. Yeah. So in fact, let me be very honest, I think conservationists are poor. And that's okay. We're okay with that.
Yeah, we have richness in other forms,
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on talking about this, but I think people understand now. They need to have this conversation to be able to understand. Otherwise, it's just left as a question mark in the head.
They need to go on more walks with you.
Yeah.
To actually be able to understand that if 1 hour or 2 hours can mean so much in their life or turn an entire day around, imagine doing this on a daily basis. Imagine what kind of a person you can hope to be if this is who you keep yourself surrounded with.
Like I tell people that you need to stand under the tree to understand the tree. Stand under, understand.
Oh, good one.
So when you're standing under the tree, you understand it better because you can see the shape of the leaves, the flowers on the ground, the texture of the trunk, or the birds living on it or under it, all the insects and stuff. But if you're sitting far away, maybe in an airplane, how will you understand the tree? So you need to stand under it to understand it. So finally, do you have a message for the viewers? What would you like to tell them?
A message for the viewers. This has always been a very tough one, because I feel like kids are way more intelligent than me these days. They'd probably have more messages. But no, I think it's very important at any stage of life that we're in. It's very important to be connected to our roots. Now, you can interpret this in any way. It could be staying connected to where you were born, or it could mean, your ancestors, or it could mean something as basic as Shinrin-ryoku, where we were just walking barefoot. But I strongly think, there is so much going on in this universe. We are nothing but energy.
Okay.
So staying connected to Earth and getting that kind of an energy from Earth is very essential. I feel, so if you ask me, I think it's the devil's work when you are doing this level of construction, this level of development, this level of tree felling. My mom used to always say this, Vinashakala viparita buddhi. Your brain will stop to work. You will not know what's right, what's wrong when it's your end time. Something as basic as a little walk in the nature every single day barefoot will help you change that buddhi.
Yeah.
So far we're not even being able to see something that a 5-year-old is being able to see. हमें नहीं दिख रहा है, हमें नहीं समझ आ रहा है, because we're headed in a very wrong direction. So my only message to the youth and the adults and the elderly would be, give nature a shot. 1 hour daily, one little walk, see the change, and you would kill to protect it.
Yeah.
You would die to protect it. We won't. There will be no space for conservationists then.
Yeah. If everybody is living that
फिर
lifestyle.
जो थोड़ा बहुत हम कमाते वो भी चले जाएगा. But we'd rather be happy with that, know.
We'll all be living harmoniously with nature.
Yes. And on another note, the conversation that we were having where, we're so okay with feeling that Earth is coming to an end. Let's go to the moon. Let's go to the, let's save species, keep them as a reservoir in the moon, or let's go to a Mars. So I think there is no planet B. We keep hearing of this. There's no planet B. There's no planet B. But the truth is, there is, even if we end up going to Mars, there is nothing which is as welcoming as this planet.
Yeah.
So do your best, be a minimalist, and walk in the nature.
Yeah, and have a lot of fun.
Have a lot of fun. Most importantly, have lots of coffee.
Take a lot of pictures, leave only footprints.
Yes.
And share it with us. So if people want to connect with you, they can reach you on Instagram.
That's right.
And find out when is the next safari happening. Go check out the forest and share your stories with us. So thank you all for watching. This is the end of the show, and we will see you all again next time. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.